This is the reason why you should buy. And we're not asking the most important question, the reason why it was important for them, in their heart of hearts. Like, that's a sale. Then we're going to see results, the mindset, going into every opportunity, saying to yourself, I would love to have the business, but I don't need the business. When they talk about building their organization just through referral, that means they're missing it. The internet almost shut down because they're like, are you blind? Do you not know what's going on out there? Do you not see what's happening?
You just hit 250,000 cold calls. Congratulations.
Hello. Welcome to the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, Crispin Cruz, and I am here with Marco Torres. Marco, great to see you. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being here today. And I know that our audience is going to be excited to talk to you about sales process, sales initiatives, sales prospecting, and sales experiences. And that's what the Pipe Podcast is all about. And so we see how we use that little acronym, Marco. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool how we use that acronym? All right. So let's just jump right into it. Hey, why don't you give the listeners and the viewers just a little background, on yourself. Tell them a little bit about you, your organization, Marketing Boost, and let's start there.
Marco, please unmute your mic.
Oh, you're on mute, Marco. You're on mute. There you go.
Did it come off?
Yeah. Now I got it. See, I always tell, I've told my producer this many times. I said, I should have, like, right at the onset of COVID, I should have came out with these T-shirts that say "You're on mute." Like, it would have been. I'd probably be retired now. I'd literally be laying on the beach collecting 20% of all my T-shirt sales. So
right.
Now I've got you. But you heard the question, so let's jump into it.
Let's go. Well, thank you for having me first on your show. I appreciate that. I want to apologize to everybody watching this. If you're watching it live, I'm coming with a little bit of a delay. I'm in Puerto Rico right now, on the west side of Puerto Rico, in an area called Rincon. It's a surfing area. And I'm just revisiting my roots here. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm actually Mexican, but grew up in Puerto Rico. I haven't been back in a couple of decades to these areas of the island. So I'm bouncing around, and I flew to Culebra and then a little island off of Puerto Rico. So I've been over here for going on 3 weeks, just bouncing around, living the laptop lifestyle. So my background has been I've generated over $1 billion in sales in my career. Been with online marketing. I've been an online marketer since 1996. I was a very early adapter in getting involved in internet marketing. I've watched the whole thing evolve. So been around since before Facebook, before Google, before, back in the days of AOL. So, and today I'm really proud to be a part of having developed a company we called marketingboost.com. And at Marketing Boost, what we do is we provide what I call the wow, surprise, and delight factor. We serve business owners around the globe with incentives, travel incentives, that they can use to enhance whatever their call to action is, to add value to whatever their value stack is. And these incentives, for example, you're showing it on the screen if you're watching the video. We had 3 different categories of incentives: complimentary hotel stays in 130 destinations around the world. We offer hotel savings cards that come in increments of $1, $2, $3, and $500, good at 1 million hotels worldwide. And we provide restaurant savings vouchers. So these incentives, we teach our community how to use them to, everything from trade show giveaways, lead generation ideas, Facebook engagement, and online reputation ideas, which we can talk about as well. We have hundreds of case studies on the website showing how other business owners have used Marketing Boost to succeed, etc.
That's great. That's great. So I want to pivot to, most of the listeners and viewers, they're entrepreneurs, they're sales, they're executive sales coaches, mentors, some of them as well. Some are also, just there, and I say just, but they're in, that foxhole every day of selling. They're getting out there, and they're making things happen, closing business. And so, one of the questions I had for you today, Marco, is what is reputation management, and why is that important as well?
Well, that's actually how we got this whole business came about in our attempt to build and add more video testimonials. So and we learned from this process that I think it's great for anybody listening out there. What we did, and we didn't intend to do this on purpose at the time, but we wanted more video reviews from our clients. We were selling travel and selling very, sexy destinations like Cancun, Cabo San Lucas, Hawaii, and others. And we couldn't get our clients to do it, to give us a video testimonial of the hotel and or of the destination. So we came up with an idea to offer them we figured we would only do this temporarily. We would offer them a bonus trip, a complimentary 3-night stay in Orlando or Las Vegas if they film a selfie testimonial of the resort. And that turned into dozens and then hundreds of these video testimonials coming in, which we were able to create that social proof, that what you're asking me about, building that lead, that your ability to manage your online reputation. And so we were generating all these video testimonials, plugging them all over our website, using them in our Facebook ads, using them in our YouTube ads and our TV ads. And these were all that social proof that we needed. But the key to this was the following, and anybody can implement this regardless of whether you use Marketing Boost or not. We would do a survey when we felt our client, we expected them to be at their peak of happiness, which in our case was the day after they checked into the hotel. So we would send them a survey, an email, a text message saying, hey, how are we living up to your expectations? How is this hotel? How has our service been so far? Give us a rating of 1 to 5. And if they gave us a 4 or 5, we were immediately sending them, we're thrilled that you're enjoying the hotel. We'd like to ask you to do us a huge favor. Would you help us spread the word about this hotel and give us a video review of the property? And if you'll do that, we'll reward you with a bonus complimentary hotel stay. Boom, hundreds of these were coming in. But the key was this in managing the reputation. If they gave us a 1, 2, or 3-star rating, if they had a complaint about something, well, now we had the opportunity to hear about it directly from the client before they went and posted a negative review. Now we were in the position to let them vent with us and us possibly do what we could to fix the problem, help, call the hotel, help them solve whatever the problem might have been. And then we could go back and ask them for a review again. So we were constantly soliciting the reviews and allowing the client who might not be happy to vent with us, and we have a chance to fix it. And if they were 4 and 5, we were soliciting them to post reviews. So we were managing by daily getting dozens and dozens of positive reviews being posted on third-party websites. And the other thing we would do, Chris, is we would, and I recommend people do this, is we would throttle them or filter them by sending these clients different links. We'd send some, please post on Google My Business. We'd send others, please post a review on Facebook. We'd send others, please post on SiteJabber, on Shopper Approved, on Trustpilot. And so now every day we're getting reviews posted on different third-party review websites, which now Google has no choice but to see this constant flow of reviews coming in. And when people search our brand name, boom, we're popping up with reviews from Trustpilot, SiteJabber, Shopper Approved, Google My Business, Facebook, and bam, you're managing and controlling your reputation. And then the incentive. So that's how, again, back to the business. With those reviews coming in, they were expensive to fulfill. So we're like, okay, we had to turn off that campaign of giving them the complimentary hotel stay, but we didn't really want to because it was working so well. So we went back to our hotel partners and said, hey, what can we, and we could tell that story next if you allow me, but it turned into what Marketing Boost is today. We went back to these hotel partners and said, look, you've got a problem. We think we can solve it. Let's be honest. Your hotel's never full year round. You have, 70% of your room, 30, 40, 50% of your rooms go empty of the hotel. And we can put some warm bodies in these hotels, couples, families, individuals. They'll spend money at the restaurant, the bar, the spa, the casino, the gift shop, the excursion desk. They'll book extra nights, they'll upgrade room types. And they agreed. And so now we were able to fulfill those trips we were giving away. And then we thought, if you just imagine if we had hundreds of hotels instead of just Orlando and Vegas, we'd have a whole new business. And eventually, that's what became marketingboost.com. By solving a problem for ourselves, we came up with a solution for business owners now around the world to have access to these incentives that they can use, from everything to helping manage their online reputation to now here's another example of using our incentives to manage an online reputation. Let's suppose somebody does write a negative review, and mind you, if you're doing a lot of business, you're going to get some negative reviews, right?
That's right. Eventually, that's right.
Eventually, right? You can't please everybody. But one of the things you can do with the Marketing Boost incentives is actually reach out to them and say, look, would you give us the opportunity to hit the reset button? We're sorry we made this mistake, or we didn't deliver on time, or we shipped the wrong product, or whatever it was. Allow us to fix it. And we're also going to reward you just for your grief. We're going to give you a complimentary hotel stay, 3 nights in Las Vegas on us, if you allow us to fix the problem, ship you a new product, yada, yada. So now, then after you do that, you can go back and say, now that we've fixed the problem and we gave you a complimentary hotel stay, would you consider taking down that review, or at least editing it? And you're getting people to come back now, edit the negative review, or even take it down. And because those, of course, live online forever. So you want to do your best to at least resolve issues and get back to the client and see if they'll, if they're willing to edit the review or even take it down. So that's just another example of many on how to help control and manage those online reputations. But the big key, Chris, is to keep them flowing, keep new reviews coming in every day. So you need to have a system in place to solicit additional reviews, so you can, continue to fill that pipeline with fresh reviews that people see. In our case, we now have over 30,000 video testimonials from happy travelers, more than any other travel website in the world.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So reputation, it's all so connected, right, Marco? I mean, reputation, brand awareness. I mean, all of these things that businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs, that they try to do to stay active, in that market. So what are some of the things that you would recommend to small business owners or entrepreneurs, and say, if you're going to keep, top of mind with some of or most of your clientele, with your existing clients, or with, even prospects, what are some of the things that you would recommend that they do? I mean, whether that's a service that Marketing Boost provides, or just things that they should be doing, to really make sure that they're bringing a brand awareness, to their organization.
Yeah, thanks. Great question. And, this is marketing 101. Most people listening probably already do this and know this, but if not, I mean, you need to be using automation. You need to be having a proper CRM system that is set up to, when you acquire prospect clients, you are staying in touch with them with relevant content. So, we heard the old saying, content is king, like this podcast show you do, Chris. But in other words, you've got to be delivering content to your community, and be emailing, text messaging, and of course having a purpose for that content, having it be interesting and relevant to your business, and have it set up on automation. You want to be thinking this through. And today there's so much, it's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur, in my opinion, because the technology that's available out there, so many different providers of these types of quality CRM platforms. There's Chat GPT to help you write amazing content. You can use artificial intelligence to help you come up with the content to create interesting and series of email messages for whatever your product or service is, text messages, even video content, and be creating that series of content that you can be dripping and drip campaigns to
Mhm.
stay in touch with your prospects and nurture them until they become ready to buy from you. Because if they didn't buy from you from day one, no, you can't expect that they always will. Then you need to nurture them with information that's relevant, that's going to eventually bring them back in. Or then you can turn on stuff like ringless voicemail broadcasting. You can turn on obviously text message and email. You can do rebranding marketing with YouTube and Facebook and pay per click, so you're staying in touch with them and on different wherever they happen to go. So there's a strategy that you need to develop, but it's really not that hard anymore.
Yeah. Well, listen, tell me this guy doesn't know his stuff. I mean, if you didn't take down at least five of those ideas, I mean, and you say it's marketing 101. You say, well, everybody, I'm sure, your listening audience or viewer audiences are doing these things, but the truth of the matter is they're not, right? And they're not because of this, the most valuable commodity in our lives that we have right now is time. And when you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, or if you're just out there hustling in sales, that is one thing that you cannot afford to waste, right? Is time. And when you talk about like these things that you have to do to grow your business or grow your book of business, if you work for someone or you're trying just to expand your organization in some way, it takes time. And when you're wearing so many different hats, Marco, like how did you do it with Marketing Boost? Like, I mean, you've grown this company. Yeah, I mean, this has been an extraordinary venture for you. We've talked off camera and and out of podcast before, and I know a bit of your story and how this happened. But tell the listeners and the viewers, like, how did you do it all? Like when you knew you just had to grind and hustle and make it happen, how did you do it?
Well, one thing that I've always done actually since I was a kid, and my first entrepreneurial deal was a paper route, and I found that I was pretty good at knocking on doors to sell subscriptions, and then back then I had to go back and knock on doors to collect the money as well. But I ended up building such a big paper out that they featured me on the front page of the newspaper by age 12. And the key to that was I leveraged relationships. Even at that age, I didn't know I was doing this, but I recruited my friends to help me deliver the papers so that I could focus on knocking on doors, selling more subscriptions, and collecting the money. And when it came to Marketing Boost, for example, I've almost always had business partners and leveraged relationships. So when we launched our travel company in 2010, actually our first travel company, we launched together as partners. I leveraged relationships. This was right after 2008, and I had lost everything, by the way, in 2008 and 2009. It was like, whoa, start over in my mid 40s, late 40s, and literally saw everything go up in smoke. I joke about it now, saying I had one of my most successful sales years ever. I mean, I sold my house, I sold my cars, I sold my boat, I sold my motorcycle. It was a great sales year, but it
Oh
wasn't so
no.
it wasn't fun.
Oh, no.
Selling everything. And anyway, in 2010 I started over with some business partners, and we none of us could afford to hire each other, but we all had capital. Our capital was our minds. We knew how to come back and build it again. And so we partnered together and we conquered and divide and conquered was the strategy. And so there was four of us, and essentially we went out and different one of us, focusing on the marketing, the other focusing on sales, the third focusing on the resort and hotel relationships, the fourth on the financing of the company and so forth. And we managed to most of those last 13 years be good partners, like a marriage. We had to
Mm,
work together, and we've done that well. And I've done that in other businesses prior to this opportunity where, and if you can't afford to hire people, try to find people that you can potentially partner with. And the other mistake I think business owners too often make is they do, like you just described, they do want to wear every hat. They do want to do all of the functions themselves. They kind of get like this. A lot of business owners I've met are control freaks, so to speak, and they always feel like nobody can do it as good as they can, so they'll do it. They want to do it themselves. So they want to build the website, they want to write the emails, they want to do everything, and they want to do the sales and they want to do the marketing. And you know, if you think small, you're going to stay small. So you do need to, and in today's world is another good reason to be an entrepreneur today. It's never been easier to outsource expertise. It's never been easier to find experts, whether they be in your backyard or on the other side of the world, that you can hire affordably to help you get more done. And the key is build a team of people around you that are smarter at you than things that you're not necessarily great at. Personally, I'm not good at technology. At my age, I'm a little, even though I've been an early adapter, I've always found people to help me with the coding and the writing and the building of the technology of the website and the setting up of the automation workflows. And shoot, I don't want to learn all that stuff.
Right, right.
So I need it done, and I know what needs to be done as the leader, but I need to hire people around me that can handle all the minute details to make everything work. And that's what you need to do as an entrepreneur as well. Don't try to learn. I mean, you need to constantly be educating and constantly trying to learn and stay relevant and learn the new technologies available. But it doesn't mean you need to be the expert at them. You need to know what the technology can do for you, and then hire somebody to help you implement it all and put it to work, so that then you're making money while you sleep.
That's great. That's great. I'm telling you, that's some good advice. And the other piece that I wrote this down, because you talk about your paper route, right? And you grew this giant, paper route. That must have been like such an incredible moment, even at that age. You're on the front of the paper. Like, it's just awesome to hear about that at such a young age. And we had talked about, you and I follow a lot of the same pathway, right? We've worked our whole lives. I mean, I started cleaning tables and working in the restaurant with my parents at the age of 6 years old, right? And so I get that. But what you said just resonated so loudly with me. You said, I was knocking on doors, I was selling my product, right? You were selling the newspapers, and then you were collecting the money. Like, it's like, I mean, if that's not a lesson for every salesperson, entrepreneur out there, you're knocking on doors, you're selling, you better have a process to sell your product or service, and you better know your product and service, right? Inside and out.
Right.
And then you better collect the money. Like,
Yeah.
because you don't collect the money, then you're going to be in bad shape with your business, right? And so,
Exactly.
I mean, we talk about such, and it just seems like such foundational type things. Like, here's one of the things that now you're getting me excited. See how I move in my chair? Like, I get
Yeah.
excited. All right. So, we talk about sales, and, Marco, it's like, we want to make sales so difficult. Like, sometimes we just want to, for whatever reason, we want to make selling so difficult. And, I boil it down to these three key factors, right? One, you have to behave correctly, which means, right, if you have a sales process, if you're going to make the calls, if you're going to do all of the work that it takes, to potentially find a prospect or to nurture a prospect, like you had talked about, then you have to behave correctly. You have to have the right behaviors throughout your work day, your work week, your month, and your year, right? So if you're
Absolutely.
behaving properly, then you're going to increase your level of production. And if you increase your level of production, then you are going to increase your sales. like,
Absolutely.
like I boil it, and I've trained to this like time and time and time again. And it's just like, is your team, is your sales leader, are you behaving correctly in the role of sales? And if you are, sure, KBIs, if you have all the metrics, you have the CRM, do you have the processes in place to support your team and make sure that you've given them every tool to succeed? But then that's going to capture also those behaviors, right? How many dials they make, how much time they're spending, meeting with prospects, what their pipeline looks like all of those things. But it's all going to point back to behavior. Then an increased level of production is going to increase sales.
Absolutely. And then are you doing the follow-up? How many people, obviously you want to become a one-call closer. Obviously you want to be able to close on that one call and pull the credit card and, get it in the books. But in today's world, people want to, there's some are going to get away. Some want to check your reputation online. Some want to talk to their partners or whatever the reason for not taking action today is. And then salespeople do what? They don't want to bother to follow up. It's too
That's
much
right.
work. It's too much work to hear rejection again. So they're looking forward to the new prospects and chase down the new ones and be the one call closers on the new ones and not bother to be following up in between fresh new sales calls, following up with the ones that said or you'll find themselves chasing all of the follow-ups and afraid to chase down new business.
That's right. That's exactly right. And then now that's resonating, now you're resonating in a different way with me when you talk about chasing those prospects, right? And why are we chasing those prospects? The reason that we're chasing those prospects is real simple. It's because we weren't in control of the sales event, right? We didn't set up a clear next step of what's going to happen with that prospect before we got off the phone with them or before we got out of that meeting with them, right? And that's a big problem. Like I guarantee you, for every salesperson, business owner, entrepreneur, if they just take a look at your pipeline, what opportunities do you have in your pipeline today? Right. And if you say to yourself, okay, wait a second, is it pipeline or pipe dream? Right? Is it pipeline or pipe dream? Because I'll tell you, the question that's a very valid question, because of those individuals that are in your pipeline right now that have a high probability of closing. You knocked on the door, you talked about your product and service, you were able to ask the right questions to see if there was a compelling reason for them to buy. And if there was a compelling reason for them to buy, you have a clear next step, right? You have a follow-up decision call, you have a presentation, whatever that might look like, but you're not getting off that phone without having a clear next step. You're not getting out of that Zoom meeting or that go-to meeting without having a clear next step, right? And trying to keep the prospect accountable for what's going to happen next. And that's just so valuable. I mean, I'm sure that's the reason why you've been so successful in sales too.
No doubt. And I've having to teach, teams of salespeople, and I spent 7 months in our call center in the Philippines, which was a
Mm,
great time, and
yeah.
training our staff over there to the expectations that I have for them. But yeah, sales it can be fun, and many entrepreneurs. Here's another big mistake a lot of business owners make out there is they want to pretend that they're really not in sales, or they want to, like, I don't like sales. I hate sales. I've always hated salespeople. And so I don't want to consider myself a salesperson. Well, big mistake. You're in business. If you're in business, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, or candlestick maker, or whatever the heck you do, you're, you better learn to live with it because you're in sales. And if you don't have transactions, you don't have a business. So you or somebody on your team needs to be asking for the order in one way or another, whether you are having that be an online sales process or have sales people on Zoom calls, but they better get good at asking for the order, overcoming objections, and closing a sale.
That's
And that's
right.
where, in some cases, that's where marketing boost incentives might help. Again, we're not the end all solution. We're not the magic bullet to make anybody. You don't mind me plugging marketing boost again. I see you showing our screen if you're watching the video. Marketing boost incentives is just one of the tools, one of the ways that you might
That's right.
help you create a little extra scarcity and urgency and a reason to take action this today on this call, or this week we're running this special promotion. Take action before the end of the week. We've got a number of these complimentary hotel stays that we're giving away, and so, or something along those lines. We have hundreds of our community members that use the marketing boost incentives to get folks to show up for a Zoom call. I mean, just imagine if you've got a big sales team, or even if it's just yourself, if you offer an incentive to book an appointment for a no obligation phone call with you, and then they book that call. Now you have, with your automation, you might be sending them a series of messages to say, hey, don't forget our meeting on Tuesday at 4 o'clock. If you show up on time for the meeting, I'm going to reward you with a $200 hotel savings card just for showing up. We think your time is super valuable. We think ours is as well. So we want to reward you with this hotel savings card just for showing up. And then boom, now you've got maybe more, eliminating two problems. One, you're getting more bookings. Two, you're eliminating no-shows. What would that do for yourself or for your sales team?
It's great.
So,
That's great. That's great. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Marco, for all of that. And this is the time that we typically pivot to what we call the Sales Arbiter 7. And so I ask you 7 questions, and it's based on our friend, James Lipton from Inside the Actor Studio, if you remember James Lipton. And he used to ask a series of questions at the end of every interview and just elicit, some responses that weren't expected. And so this gives our, listening audience and our viewers a little more insight to who you are and what you're all about. And so if you wouldn't mind participating in that, I've got them locked and loaded and ready to go.
let's go. Hopefully, if I stumble too much with them, I might just disappear from the screen and hit end.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be
Okay.
fine. I promise. All right. Okay. Let's go with the first one. So what is your favorite word?
Gratitude.
Gratitude.
I believe, and this is something that's relatively new in my life. I have got a wonderful spouse who reminds me daily, that I can't be angry and grateful at the same time. Often have had people listening, I've had my own anger issues throughout my life, frustrating with technology. If things don't work just right, I'm always, easy to lose my, flip out at myself or at the computer or at the phone or what have you. But with her help, I have been learning to appreciate, to be grateful for the little things in life, grateful for the big things in life, and realize I can't be grateful and upset at the same time. So it's been calming by having gratitude.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you for sharing that. So what is your least favorite word?
Least favorite word? Good question there. Let's see. I guess I would have to say hate.
Hate.
Hate. I don't, I don't, I hate, I find myself saying that often, right? I hate this, I hate that. But, we really don't need to hate anything. We just need to maybe put it aside or find ways to, you know, move around it.
That's right.
Replace it with gratitude or love.
That's right. That's great. I love it. That's good. What's something that could make your day, Marco?
Something that could make my day. Um, a great café con leche every morning.
There we go. That's it. That's it.
A good coffee in the morning with shoot, that makes the day. That starts the day in the right tone for me anyway. Got to have my coffee.
I got it. Well,
Get
that's
going.
good. See, something that the viewers and listeners probably didn't know about you. So that's good. What's something that could ruin your day?
Sadly, what happens, that's why I've again just mentioned it a little while ago, ruin my day easily is technology not working, like getting on this call with you at the beginning, couldn't get the internet to work, couldn't get the technology to work, couldn't get the Bluetooth headset to work, all that kind of thing. If I let it get to me, it could ruin the day. And that's where I'm working on that gratitude that I mentioned earlier, to deal with the small things and don't let them, if what's that going to mean 5 years from now? Absolutely
Yeah,
nothing. So
absolutely
therefore,
nothing. That's right.
so
And
therefore,
we're
let
here now. We're here
yeah,
now. So we're
and
good.
let the small things go fly by.
That's it. So, what sound or noise do you love?
The sound of ocean waves crashing on the beach
Mm.
is one of my all-time favorites. Um, and I've just spent the last 3 weeks here bouncing around the island of Puerto Rico and renting Airbnbs on the beach and living the lap type lifestyle over here. But those ocean waves over here reminds me of what I loved about growing up in the Caribbean here. It's unbelievable.
Wow, that's great. Well, you and my wife have that in common because she loves the sound of the oceans crashing and then the waves crashing on the beach. She just loves that sound, and there's nothing like it. So it's funny that you should mention that. What sound or noise do you hate?
Honking cars.
And especially if they're back of you. Yeah.
When they're behind me, and as soon as the light turns green and they're honking already, that's one of those moments when I'm flipping out and forgetting that I have to be grateful of
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's so good. That's great. All right. What profession other than your own would you have liked to attempt?
Would I have liked to have attempted in an
Yeah.
earlier life? If I could do it
Yeah.
all over again, I would have
Yeah.
loved to have played professional football.
Oh,
I got is the my last experience was the time of my life. What I learned in football in high school and middle school and pee wee football, the teamwork, the camaraderie, I was too small of an individual to make it onto college ball or NFL, but boy, that would have been that if I had, a magic wand, I'd go back and put a
you
few
could do
extra
that.
pounds on and grow a few inches taller and maybe play some football.
You love that sport. You love that sport. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. All right. So let's tell people, how do they find you, Marco? How do they find you? What's the best way for them to contact you? If they want to, they want to get people, they want people to come and talk to you about Marketing Boost and how you can help them with that solution.
Yeah,
Or maybe they just
you
want to have a conversation with you and just say, hey, I need to talk to another great businessman, business owner, entrepreneur. How do they find you? What's the best way?
You've got it up on the screen right now. You can go to marketingboost.com or you can go to marketingboostsolutions.com, marketingboostsolutions.com, where we also show a number of other products and services that we offer that enhance the Marketing Boost, the travel incentives. We do provide, as upgrades, the automation and a number of artificial intelligence tools to help build your business over and above just incentives. So marketingboostsolutions.com. We have a free Facebook group also with over 30,000 entrepreneurs on the Marketing Boost official Facebook group. And we're there to help. We're here to help and teach you. In this group, for example, it's free to join. There's over 30,000 entrepreneurs. Many of them share ideas on what's working for them, how they're using incentives. We put on trainings as well, and we have our own podcast where we have expert interview guests like you, where we're teaching folks how to grow and build their business.
That's great. That's great. Well, listen, those that are watching and viewing, if you need help in that area, this is the guy. He knows his stuff. He's been around and he has helped thousands of businesses, grow and help them to figure out, what's next and where they're going next. And so I'm so glad to have had you on today, Marco. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and it means the world to me. And so I always close every show like this, and I tell our listeners and our viewers, keep selling and have fun doing it. Thanks again for being on today.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
This is the reason why you should buy. And we're not asking the most important question, the reason why it was important for them, in their heart of hearts. Like, that's a sale.
Then we're going to see results.
The mindset, going into every opportunity, saying to yourself, I would love to have the business, but I don't need the business.
When they talk about building their organization just through referral, that means they're missing it. The internet almost shut down because they're like, are you blind? Do you not know what's going on?